Happy Monday, babes. Do you remember being taken out of class to do a hearing test, decode any patterns, or even taking a pink tablet? Well, today I want to talk to you guys about the GATES program. I have a TikTok compilation. Let's get into it.
For those of you who were in the GATE program in grade school, have you ever had anything really strange happen to you over the years that you can't really explain? I'm talking something like way out there that really made you second guess things.
Now, we've put together this planning team. Each of you was chosen to be on the team for two reasons.
Yeah, like we didn't have enough work to do already.
First, because the theme of the assembly is one world, we thought it would make sense to have as many countries as possible represented. Now, some of your ancestors come from Africa, some from Asia, some from Latin countries, some from Europe, and even from some right here in America. You're here to think of creative ways to tell the other students about each of the lands that we've come from. Now, the other reason that you were chosen is that each of you has demonstrated that you are capable students and able to get a job done well. Do you think you can handle it?
Sure. It'll be fun telling kids about Native Americans.
Yeah, and you can tell them how your grades went from A to C while you worked on this project.
Stop being so negative, Mara. There's a lot we can each share about the countries our ancestors came from.
This is sounding a bit like Mission Impossible. Your mission, should you decide to accept it.
Put together a major assembly without falling behind in your classwork.
If we all work together and stick with it, it shouldn't be too hard.
Mai's right. It's a big project, but if we all keep together, it'll be the best program the school's ever seen. It'll be great.
You're sure the eager beaver, Brian?
What do you think, Kelly? You haven't said anything.
Well,
If Kelly sounds a little unsure, it's because as president of the student council, Kelly got volunteered to be leader of this team. But Kelly's role will be to help coordinate this group's efforts. Now, your other teachers and I thought it would be best if we stayed out of this completely and turned it over to the students. I know it's a big job, but keep in mind, if you work together, you can do it. Now I'll turn this meeting over to Kelly and leave the program in all of your hands.
Okay, I may be the chairperson, but I'm not the boss. We're all in this together. So who has an idea on how we should start?
If you were in Gifted and Talented, GT, GATE, I want you to listen to this sound and tell me if you recognize it. Because if you do, then my theory that the Gateway program and the Gateway experience was tied to GT, Gifted and Talented, I think is pretty on point. And I immediately had flashbacks when I heard this.
This is the first step along your path to a gateway beyond which is discovery, your own discovery of reality, of truth, of who and what you are.
Yeah. So immediately when I heard that and I remembered the big earphones, I was taken back. What are your thoughts? Do you remember these sounds? Do you remember this intro? Because I think we're all in alignment that there is a lot of connection here.
Thousands of you in my last video remember being pulled out of class as a kid and tested for the Gifted and Talented program, and I gave you deja vu when you heard this audio. But do you remember being given the chewable tablets, the pink ones, these little disclosing tablets that you put in your mouth and that you chew and they stay into your teeth all pink? Let me know if you remember them giving you these pills that you're supposed to chew, that they look like this. A lot of you remembered and totally had a flashback of doing the tests with the hearing, with the headphones on, doing the yarn on the pegboards, and even doing the flashcards to see if you had telepathy or not. But do you also remember eating the pink tablets? Well, those pink tablets were made of erythrosine and other ingredients and magnesium and all that stuff. And now erythrosine is actually banned in 1990 because it affects your pituitary gland. So let me know if you remember these.
That the Gifted and Talented program was just special ed on the other end of the bell curve.
I was in the Gifted and Talented education program in elementary school, and I just always thought I was smart. Like I always had straight A's, so I just thought, oh, well, cool. And there was like a big exam that I had to take to be involved in it. So I spent my whole lower education thinking, I'm just smart. And then when I was 17, I found this packet full of all these different stages of development, and they were annotated. So it was like some of them were crossed off, some of them had circles, or all these notes about like, this is like things to look for, this is what to do if this happens. And like I kept looking like papers near it, and it had like letters from developmental professionals. Like, that was really interesting. And so I asked my mom what this was. And so she's like, oh, they tried to say that you couldn't go into the next grade because like I couldn't hop on 1 foot, or I couldn't do like certain things. And she's like, but you're so smart, so I had you tested for all this stuff. I was like, okay, but I took AP Psych, and I was like, yeah, this looks like the definition for autism, you know? And she's like, no, you're too smart for that. I was like, okay. And so I saw my doctor fairly recently after that. And I told my doctor, I was like, I thought it was interesting. I found this packet with all this stuff. And she looks at me, she goes, yeah, you're autistic. And I go, it's like, what? And she goes, yeah, like it was something that was already known. And I go, what do you mean? And she even mentioned, she's like, you're in the GATE program, aren't you? And I was like, yeah. She goes, yeah, you're autistic. And I go, I thought I was just really smart. She goes, you are, but you're also autistic. And so I left that doctor appointment and I was like, Mom? And it was this whole thing. And I still fight with my mom about it because she still says that I'm too smart to be autistic, which is not true. But it kind of was like everything made sense after talking to my doctor about that. And she was kind of surprised by the fact that I didn't know. But yeah, I always thought it was interesting because they treat it like you're just smart, which nothing wrong with that. I mean, it was fun, but it was like a big eye opener when I found out that it's more than just being smart, and so much more makes sense now. And I'm still learning more, and I go, wow, I did not know that that is a reason why I do that. Or, you mean that's not normal? You mean other people's brains don't work like that? Just a fun little story.
I have been so hesitant to make this video, but don't care. When I was younger, when I was a little girl, I was admitted into this thing called the GATE program, G-A-T-E, Gifted and Talented Education. I tested within the upper 90th percentile of my peers, 98th. This mysterious organization contacted my mother and was like, your child should be in the GATE program. This program was government funded. Yeah. So all my fellow GATE friends out there, do you guys remember the pink fluoride? Do you remember the headphones with the hearing test where you had to raise your hand? Do you remember the guessing the next card game? Like you had to guess what the symbol was on the next card? What about that weird string game that was on the wooden board with the pegs? The video of the woman talking, and there was this room that was black with a green grid line. They were laser green grid lines. And they were always asking us about ancient Egypt and to like study it. What were these people doing to us? What did they do to us? Because before that, I remember being able to astral project. I would go out of body and I would see my mom doing stuff. And I remember waking up and asking my mom, are you doing so and so? And she was like, how would you know that? You're asleep. I am convinced They were looking for certain children with abilities, so they could suppress it. That weird pink drink they were always shoving down that I covertly spit out. What were they doing to us? You guys, what were they doing to us?
A while ago, I made a video about the GATE program, which stands for Gifted and Talented Education, and a lot of people in the comments who were a part of that program explained how they were asked to do strange tasks that really didn't make a whole lot of sense. While many of the tasks were simple things like puzzles, a lot of people recall being asked to do seemingly impossible tasks like trying to hear a beep at a very low frequency or trying to guess the shape and color of an object that was completely out of sight. This led to some interesting theories that the GATE program's purpose wasn't simply to find students who were advanced academically, but was actually a program created by a secret government agency with the intention of finding young individuals with supernatural-like abilities. Since making that video, people have been remembering even more details about the GATE experience, which makes the whole program seem even more suspicious. For starters, people are now saying that they remember drinking some strange pink liquid and taking a medicine that was never prescribed to them and that they would never take at home. People have also been sharing these headphones, saying that it's jogging their memory and giving them flashbacks of the program. Leave a like and let me know if you remember anything new about the GATE experience.
I don't remember, but if you went to public school in America in the 1990s, you were 100% tested for psychic ability. The GATE program was the Gifted and Talented Education Program. I was a psychic in the Navy, and the number one question I get when I tell people that is, how did you get that job? Did you just walk in there and ask them for it? And I always have to tell them no, because that is not how it works. I actually got discovered when I was in elementary school at 10 years old through the GATE program. The GATE program was actually run by the CIA, and because they did it in elementary schools, most people assumed that they meant gifted and talented, like you may be gifted at reading or talented at math. That's not what they meant, babe. They meant, do you have a gift? Are you talented at psychic ability? First of all, what they were looking for was people to serve in the military, and they were looking for somebody that was good at a specific psychic ability called psychometry. The ability to read the energy of objects. If anybody's followed my page for long enough, somewhere on there is a video that says, I was a psychic in the Navy, but it doesn't work the way you think it works. I actually can feel the energy of mechanical objects, and I can tell you where they're broken. That is what the GATE program was looking for. Does anybody remember these cards? The cards with the pictures on the back. And one person would hold it up, and you were supposed to be able to visualize or see if you could visualize the picture on the other side of the card. You were not supposed to be guessing. You were trying to see if you could actually feel or tell what was on the other side of the card, either through a physical feeling, a vision in your head, or just something, right? But you were not supposed to be guessing. They would say specifically the word visualize on purpose because they did not want you to guess.
With more of the worksheets. So I went through the comments and I tried to pick out worksheets that were what you guys remembered so I can confirm it for you. First things first, some people wanted to see the astronaut on the front. So this is him. It was about an underwater diving apparatus. One thing I saw somebody say was the voyage of the Mimi. So here's one on episode 8. We had a worksheet for every single episode and I have all of them, but they're pretty much similar. And then a lot of people remember learning about whales, and yes, we in fact did. And here is one of the worksheets on that. Then there were a lot of comments about puzzle pictures. Tell me if this is what you guys were thinking. So like they cut up the picture and then we had to put it back together correctly. Like that. And then we had to do I have so many of these graph sheets and they tested us against each other and they would like write down how fast you finished. There's also more like Russian, ASL, problem solving, crossword puzzles. I found my invention rubric and more decoding. I'll post some of those later, but right now I am very hungry. I'm gonna go eat. If you have any memories that are specific, that you want me to look for something specifically, just let me know. I was a part of the Gifted and Talented program in the 90s, and I just found my binder. The things I found. For starters, they had us doing worksheets in Morse code. Here's one of them. So they gave us at the top what the Morse code is, and then we had to fill out the rest of the worksheets to like make codes and messages and stuff in Morse code. A lot of our worksheets were about different codes. This one is literally called Codes to Crack. So you can see there, they gave us like 8 letters, and each of the columns is a different code. So for this one, there was 8 letters. They gave us the corresponding letters, and then we had to figure out the rest of the alphabet and fill in the rest of the column. But there's so much more. Like the stuff I found in there, I'm like, what were you training us for? Like, why was I 10 years old speaking Russian? It's cool, but I don't actually remember anything except that's my name. So I do remember that. I'll share more as I go through the whole thing, but it's like there's like hundreds of worksheets in there, so like it's gonna take me a minute.
Very interesting stuff. Let me know your thoughts below in the comments, and if you'd like to share your experience about being in the program, feel free to do so. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.